Now we're going back to square one, making fire.
I'm just thinking we are in a formal setting. It's a cocktail of some sort or an event, and there's Q now busy swirling this thing. Now I know how to do it, and then he dips his nose inside. Doesn't that look weird? No.
You try.
Umka.
Umka rice.
What is umka?
Umka rice is basically you mix everything in a pot and you cook your rice and you mix everything in. Umka basically just means put together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the way or something that's put together. It's like istif papa, in the Sinkipasis istif papa. So umka, umka will mean oh yeah.
Welcome to One Night Stand. I'm joking. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines with me, Kunisani Kwabe, Dr. Q, for those of you that are familiar with the show. Today we are hosting Uket, a person who is, I think I'm going to refer to him as a wine connoisseur. Kat, are you that?
Yeah, I am. I'm a connoisseur. I'm an aficionado. I'm an enthusiast for wine. Yeah, that's who I am.
And you're holding a glass of wine as we are talking.
Yes, and I'm holding a glass of wine as I'm talking. And we are having a Cabernet Sauvignon 2023 vintage.
Interesting. I don't know what that means. But anyway, let me welcome you formally. How are you?
I'm good.
How has the day been like for you?
How's what?
How has the day been like for you?
Well, it's been good. Yeah, it's my favorite weather. So I enjoy this kind of weather.
You like gloomy weather? It's been very rainy.
Yeah, and apparently there's a term for people that love this kind of weather.
What is that term?
They call them something, but I forgot the term.
We shall find it.
We shall find it. There's a term for it for
Mm.
people that love the rain.
First things first, let's hear who Kat is. Where are you from? What are you doing in PE? Because we are currently in Gqeberha. What are you doing here? What brings you to Krebs? Just give us a feel of who Kat is.
Yeah. So who Kat is, as introduced initially, a wine enthusiast, an aficionado, a connoisseur, however you want to call me, or however I identify myself. Not yet a sommelier, but soon to get my sommelier certification, hopefully by end of this year. And I fell in love with wine a couple of years ago, 2014, in my living room, while going through a very tragic season in my life. And I'd lost the love of my life and now found new love in the bottle. And yeah, and then I started a thing called Wine Night Stand, which started in my living room. And then I took it to the rest of the world, which was Gqeberha. And today I'm here to sort of revive things from where they started. So PE feels more like my Eden. It's like where everything began, my genesis. Yeah, been here on holiday and some business, and yeah,
Okay.
just exploring and seeing what the season has. Yeah.
When where is home for you?
Home, Motherwell.
Oh, so you're from around here.
I'm from around
I knew you were from the Eastern Cape, but I didn't know that you're from Motherwell.
Motherwell.
That's like 20 minutes away from where we are right now, right?
20 minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Listen, Kat, I see you're playing with that glass. I'm gonna come to it, but somebody special left you a very interesting question. I suppose it's interesting. I'm not supposed to see this beforehand. So the question that was left for you by our previous guest, I can't really say who it was, but it's one of the previous guests.
Okay.
So they want to know what legacy you would like to leave behind.
That's beautiful. That is like it's that question speaks, or would rather I resonate a lot with that question, and it's something that I've always asked myself because I've always wanted to have purpose.
Mm.
Was wanted my life to have purpose, and when I went through that tragic moment in my life, I never thought I would actually bump into what I call today purpose.
Mm.
So we have a legacy here in South Africa, and that legacy is around wine. And so the legacy that I want to live, or rather want other people to also adopt or to be part of, is the culture of wine in South Africa. I would love to see a lot of people drinking more wine. So yeah, so basically the legacy I want to live is for people to be educated about wine, to understand the value of what wine is. It's not just any other drink. I always tell people that wine is not just alcohol, it's an experience. Because right now we're drinking a Cabernet Sauvignon 2023 vintage. What is that? What do you experience in that? You experience stuff like acidity, you experience stuff like tannins, you experience stuff like the terroir. You know, the French created a term called terroir, where this wine comes from, the region, the weather condition in that region. You know, so you get to learn a lot. You get to learn that wine is a drink that you can pair with. You get to learn that wine is a drink that you can give as a gift, that you can use for celebrations, that you can um, save up and store up for many years as an investment.
Hmm.
So it's not just going to a bottle store and just buying a bottle and having it in your home. And that's the kind of legacy that I want people to always remember and to carry it on to the next generation.
Earlier, I saw you doing this.
Yeah.
What does it mean? I always see people doing that, and you were doing this, and you went so hard to a point where I asked, "Do you have to stay it that much?"
So I did this in the other day. So I was like,
Yo,
so you shaking it.
I do agree with that person. It felt painful to me just seeing you doing it. Yeah.
So what happens is when you are basically stirring the wine, you are aerating the wine. So scientifically, what happens is oxygen comes in, alcohol evaporates. When alcohol evaporates, it would leave those drippings in the glass.
Okay.
So those drippings in the glass, we call them the legs of the wine. Those tears in the glass, we call them the legs of the wine. And the legs of the wine give you only one indication: how much alcohol is in this wine. And we determine that by another scientific term that's used called viscosity.
Viscosity.
Viscosity, yeah. So in simple terms, viscosity simply means how quickly those legs go back to the bottom of the wine. Okay. So if they're thick and slow and dense, it might imply there's high alcohol. If they're thin and they're fast, it might imply there's low alcohol. Sweeter wines have got lower alcohol. Drier wines have got higher alcohol. So when you swirl, you're also aerating the wine so that it can taste better. That's why you decant wine.
Okay.
So enough oxygen in wine would allow the wine to taste better because oxygen is life. But too much oxygen kills the wine. It becomes oxidated wine.
Let me see how much viscosity there is.
So all you do is you use your wrist, this part of your hand,
Okay.
and that's what you use to swirl.
Okay. Jesus Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm abusing this poor wine.
Yeah. So next to that, you're basically using all your senses when you are having an experience with wine. And the first is touch, how you hold a wine glass. And
Okay.
there's only two ways how to hold a wine glass. It's either the best way I describe it is these three fingers.
Okay.
I call them the joy maker. You don't know what I'm talking about? Forget about it.
This is a PG rated conversation now.
I didn't say anything.
The joy maker fingers.
Joy maker fingers, they go to the legs, they touch the legs, you fold like that. So
Okay.
that's the first way how to hold the wine glass. The second way is The best way to describe it is you put out a gun with your fingers.
Okay.
You bring the base of the wine glass on the arm that you are holding the wine glass. You create that fist and you fold. You create that so that you've got a nice grip on the glass.
Okay.
That's touch. Sight is when we look at the color of the wine and you want it to be against something that's white so that you can look at the color of the wine. When it's young, it's more purplish. When it's old, it's more ruby red kind of a color. So when you look at the color.
My guy, this thing is red. Whether I'm holding it like this or like this, it's still the same to me.
No.
I seriously don't see the difference. Maybe I'm colorblind. Who knows?
Yeah. So I say to people, take wine as if it was a person that you're being introduced to. So you have to sort of look at it in different ways for you to really have an experience with it, a good experience with it.
Interesting. And then you mentioned earlier some terms, acidity. There was another one. I don't know all those many terms that you.
Tannins.
What do they mean?
Okay. So acidity and tannins are basically sort of the backbone structure of the wine. Where does acidity come from? I'm going to make a very simple example. When you are cooking, you have ingredients. Your chicken is plain chicken. Put it in the pot, you add your spices, and the reason why you're adding up your spices is because you want to create a beautiful, balanced, acidic dish.
Okay.
And good cooks know that they taste their food while they're cooking, so that the person that's enjoying the food is not surprised. It's like, too much salt, too much chilies, too much garlic, too much this. So you portion your ingredients so that you have a beautiful balanced dish. Now, in acidity in wine, it starts in the garden. When the grapes are hit by the sun, they release sucrose. When they release that sucrose, a pH is formed, and part of that pH is in the skins of that grape. And that basically, the pH is there to protect the grape from it being damaged. So beautiful terroir or beautiful landscape or area would be a place where in the day it's got good sunlight and in the evening it's got good cooling. South Africa, we've got beautiful spaces within the Western Cape. Acidity happens naturally in wine, and the job of the winemaker is to harvest good grapes, retain the acidity, and have it in a bottle, and it comes to you. And then you can pair your wine with a beautiful dish that you prepared in your kitchen. So that's one thing about acidity. The other thing about tannins is tannins are coming from the skins of the grape. It's coming from the seeds of the grape. It also may come from barrel tannin structure. So if the wine has been fermented in a barrel, it's going to pick up the tannin within the bark of the tree, because those barrels are basically made out of the bark of a tree.
When I was at varsity, one of our lecturers from a sister institution used to make wine. They never used barrels, but he always used a bathtub for some reason, and his wine was super duper nice. And I'm thinking as I say this, does it matter how the wine is made? Barrels versus your bathtubs, for instance. Like he literally bought
Like
that
a
bathtub
bathtub.
to yes,
Wow,
he bought the
that's
bathtub to just make his wine.
Wow, that's interesting. Look, I think at the end of the day, I think at the end of the day, it's about the science behind it. What are you making the wine for? Are you making the wine for commercial purposes? Are you making the wine for your own personal consumption?
Okay.
And if you are doing it in barrels, there's usually big barrels in wine farms, so they make in big quantities. If you're doing it for yourself, you can use a bathtub.
Interesting.
And probably he has a bit of science behind why he's using a bathtub and not buckets, or not any other tools that he could ferment the wines in.
Maybe bathtubs don't wear out easily compared to all those.
Maybe.
So you are making us drink red wine. By the way, I just tried holding it like this,
Yeah.
and in less than 3 minutes, my hands were super tired. I don't think I'll be able to keep up.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hold it like this. I hope that's no crime.
No, that's no crime, absolutely. As long as you don't hold it like this. Because if you do, then it's going to warm up the wine. It changes how it might smell on the nose. We call it the nose of the wine. When you're smelling it, and then when you are tasting, we call it the palate of the wine. So it might just taste different. You might have a totally different experiences if you were just holding it the right way.
Why is there so much theory around how we should handle wine? And can't you just drink this thing like water? No ways.
Yeah.
So you are making us drink red wine. We could have had white wine. Why particularly red?
So the weather today is very chilled. So red wine is nice in terms of warming up your body because it's not so chilled. If it was a hot day, I would probably have gone for a white wine because it can help us cool down. So generally I enjoy red wine in this weather and I enjoy white wine in a much um, a hot weather kind of condition.
I'm not very big on wine or alcohol for that matter, but whenever I have wine, I always go for a red.
Yeah.
Whether it is sunny or whether it is like this, gloomy and chilly, red is my go-to guy. It sort of like just relaxes me and puts me in a good mood. The thing with white wine, and we can debate this because I always do with all my other friends. White wine gets one drunk very easily. I'm not sure if you have a similar experience. After downing one glass of wine, you can't even get behind the steering wheel.
Met some of us.
I guess I'm a weakling.
We can drink bottles of white wine and still get behind. Oh, no, not to do that.
Please. But yeah, why is that the case? Why is red wine a bit more friendly compared to white wine? I feel like white wine is just a bit too much.
To be quite honest with you, I don't know. Other than percentage in alcohol, and how your body absorbs the alcohol or how you drink the alcohol, I think it really depends on that. But I've heard that before. I've had that experience myself. I've had the experience of I drink one glass of white wine. I'm like, oh, it makes me happier much quicker. But with red wine, I'll take two glasses and then maybe if I'm at home comfortable, I'll probably fall asleep. But with white wine, I can finish a whole bottle. But with red wine, I'll probably have two or three glasses and I'll fall asleep. And that's usually in the evenings. But if I'm having it during the day, I can still survive. But anyway, I just think with white wine, just like any other cold beverage, you would drink it much faster.
When you turn 28, you start experiencing physiological changes.
Yeah.
And what you take in affects your physiological, I'd say, appearance in this case. And I always wonder how wine affects us. If I have this glass of wine now, what damage is it causing on my stomach? Or if I'm having white wine, for instance, is it as bad as your savannas? Because I know they make you,
An extra.
exactly.
Yeah. So, there's a huge debate on whether is really wine healthy or not. Some people say take two glasses of red wine a day, it's healthy for you. Some studies have shown that that's not true because those studies have been paid for by people within the liquor industry to push alcohol. And people who are really health conscious are like, no, alcohol is toxic to your body. It's neurotoxic to your brain, and stuff like that. But I think everything in moderation is not bad for you. We take a lot of things. We drink Coke. We never talk about if there's any benefits or not from drinking soda. But anyway, we do drink it. But when it comes to wine, there's certain things that I've picked up that are a benefit to me. I mean, look at my skin.
Are you seriously attributing your beautiful skin to wine? It cannot be. I fail to believe that.
So there's a study that shows, I don't have any reference at this moment that I can share, but there's a study that shows that when you're drinking Pinotage, which is a South African wine, which is a grape we can only, um, give credit to as South African, it allows you to have natural collagen. It releases collagen in your body. So hence you would have beautiful skin because collagen generally adds that value to your skin, you know. And the other thing is wrinkles. I'm almost what 40 years old. I don't have a wrinkle inside.
But is that true with everybody else? Do you take
It's
uh
not the
do you
same.
take into account other factors like your genes, for instance?
Could be. It could be. But I'm the only person.
No, I feel like that's an unfair assumption to make, actually. There's a lot of theory around this, which I would love us to talk about. But before we do that, I've got a cock for you.
Oh wow. When you reached out in your pocket, I was like, what size is it?
I know, man.
Well, there's
Not
big
that kind of cock.
there's big cocks and small cocks, so
So I want to know how do I pronounce that term? Because it's very disturbing for me to say it's a cock. Is there no other term to use for that thing?
I've never heard of any other term. It's a cork.
How do you write it? Cork.
C-O-R-K.
Can't you say cork?
Well, if you want to sound, I don't know, Portuguese or French, I don't know. Maybe, but it's a cork. In English, it's a cork. We know it as a cork. It's made from the bark of a tree. Yeah, and that's what it is. And by the way, there's a perception that if wine has a cork on it,
Mm.
it's better than wine that has a screw cap, which is not true. You can have bad wine with a cork, and have wine with a screw cap or screw top, and the screw top wine will actually taste better. It just depends who made the wine.
Okay.
What sort of science did they use behind it? Which region did it come from? What vintage was it? And so yeah, maybe I'll unpack that some other time in terms of what vintage is it. But there's a lot of information. Vintage doesn't just mean the year the grapes were harvested. It means what weather was it that year? What region is it? What climate was it in that particular year? And that affects the type of grapes that gets produced. That affects the type of quality of wine that gets produced, and also who's making it.
Who is the best wine producer currently in the world?
One black woman in the Western Cape, I think.
In the Western Cape?
In the Western Cape. Well, not one black, actually. There's two of them that I must actually give credit to that I enjoyed their wines. One is Nondumiso Pikashe, and the one is Carmen Stevens.
Okay, what are their brands?
Nondumiso has Suspigile wines, and Carmen Stevens is Carmen Stevens wines.
I've never seen those on the shelves.
Those wines, you would hardly see them on shelves because I think for the most time they haven't really had shelf space. But I know Carmen Stevens now has got her wines at Macro. But if you go and look at your sort of intimate small boutique wine shops, you would definitely find them on those shelves.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that was your bias because those are proudly South African individuals.
Yeah.
But if we look at different countries, if you compare South Africa to different countries, which would you say is the best wine producing nation currently?
So you see, in the wine world, it's not just simple. I can't just give you one straight answer. Because in the wine world, in my world, there's what you call the New World wine and the Old World wine. New World wine is countries such as South Africa, California, New Zealand. Old World wine would be Germany, Italy, France, etc. Germany, Italy, France, etc., has a different approach to making wine. Their wine's a lot more savory. That's the traditional way of doing wines. As opposed to New World wine, our wines are more creative, more fruity. They've got a fruity approach to making wines. So when you smell the wine, you would actually pick up a lot more fruit as opposed when you're drinking old wines. South Africa. So I've heard that there's this blind tasting that happens once a year or once, whatever, 3 years, of master sommeliers. So master sommeliers are like gurus, basically gods in the wine industry. I can put it that way. They would do a blind tasting of the different wines and regions where they come from. And South Africa was voted as one of the best New World wine to produce white wines because of our beautiful terroir.
White wine, even not red.
Not red. However, now we have sort of mastered the art and the science of making red wines, especially our blends. Like our blends are really good.
Hmm.
So I would attest to that as well because I've drank a lot of South African wines and I absolutely agree to it. And then you get places like Italy. Italy also has got beautiful terroir. And then you get places like France, which is the place that where they started the whole appellation system with I think George II in 1855. They started a whole appellation system, ranging wines according to standard, 1 to 5 kind of a thing. So if you would go to France, you would actually find good wine as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you want people to learn much about wine. You want people to start consuming wine more than they do with any other beverage. I'm just thinking, currently we are drinking a lot of tea. I'm excluding water deliberately. We consume a lot of tea. We consume a lot of coffee in South Africa, at least some regions of South Africa. And I would assume those are healthier options compared to wine. Not so?
Tea versus wine.
Tea and coffee are better than wine, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely not. I mean, wine is a drink that brings people together.
So does coffee?
Tea, maybe. Coffee, yeah. I know tea is synonymous to like, ooh, must take almost no about 10, 10, 10. You talk about people's stuff, which is more like a PE kind of culture.
Confession. So I'm currently writing a book, and you'll get a copy of that book. And I begin the introductory chapter by talking about my 3 ex-partners. All 3 of them I met over a cup of coffee.
Oh, wow.
None of them over a glass of wine.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
And I think you can get so many people telling you that that's how their relationships started or friendships started. For instance, when I talk to my colleagues, we go and we meet for coffee. We don't meet for wine.
Look, if I'm not having wine, I'm having coffee. Coffee and wine have got a similar culture to it somehow. Because in coffee, there's also different types of cultivars, such as different cultivars in wine. In coffee, you smell your coffee, you swirl your coffee, you touch your coffee, you look at, there's tannins in coffee, there's acidity in coffee, you know. So if I'm not having coffee, I'm having wine. So I don't think it's better. It's just that I take breaks when I'm having wine, I'm having coffee. So it's a good thing that you guys met over coffee, but you could have joined. You could have.
No ways. No ways. Thank you very much. Thank you. But Kat, another thing I wanted to ask is earlier you said you could tell just by smelling the amount of fruit that is used on the I'm gonna call it juice, on this juice, this type of juice, adult juice, in case there's children watching this. is there a way that we should sniff it? Because
Mhm. So I don't have a French nose, so I'm not going to put my wine like this.
okay, so what do you do? How do you do it?
I'm going to bring it a little bit closer to my nose, and I'm going to close my eyes to create a mental trigger to remember what is it that I'm smelling that I know.
But then, Kat, I'm just thinking we are in a formal setting. It's a cocktail of some sort or an event, and there's Q now busy swirling this thing. Now I know how to do it, and then he dips his nose inside. Doesn't that look weird? No.
You're trying to remember I said to you earlier, take wine as if it was a person.
Hmm.
And you're really interested in getting to know this person. Okay. So you basically putting your whole self in it. You don't have to, like I said, I've got an African nose.
Hmm.
If you've got a French nose, you can put it over here. You don't have to dip your wine in there.
Hmm.
But there's two parts that I always recommend that people should smell, the bottom and the top. Okay. So the bottom part of the wine, if you can smell it right now, close your eyes and you just breathe in.
It smells like spirit.
It smells like alcohol. But when you bring the top, so you dip in the glass at the top like this, you might pick up some fruity characters.
Actually, there is a slight difference.
There is a slight difference, yes. And why are you doing that? Why are you smelling the wine in the first place? Trying to get introduced to what are you going to actually be drinking? What does it trigger? What memory does it trigger? If you've never smelled leather, you've never smelled the bark of a tree, you're probably not going to pick that up until I tell you and actually make you smell the bark of a tree, what it smells like.
Mm.
You know, so tasting and smelling wine is a very subjective thing. If you get used though to those elements that I've just mentioned when it comes to red wine, you might pick up that you find it a lot in a lot of the red wines because that's basically where the wines mostly comes from.
Mm.
You know, it comes from a barrel, which means you might pick up bark of a tree. It comes from the leather, which you might pick up from the bark of a tree as well. You might pick up vanilla, which comes from the bark of the tree. You might pick up berries, different types of fruits like strawberry, raspberry, and all of that. And it's not because they add those fruits in the wine and part of the winemaking process. No, it's not. It's organic compounds that show up within the wine because of the terroir it comes from. And because in any case it's a berry, it's a fruit, it's gonna have elements of fruitiness to it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm learning quite much
I'm actually
actually.
unpacking quite a lot.
I love it. I love it because we are here to learn. We want to know about this. I think it's a booming industry actually. We see many people now just wanting to tap into the wine space, and I think it's a beautiful thing because we are particularly seeing young black people making it into that space now, whereas historically it would be your white people,
Predominantly
right?
white, yeah.
Exactly. So does it matter what wine I take with my food?
Acidity plays a big part in terms of what wine you choose to have with your food. So generally, I would say to people, if you are inviting people over and you're selecting a number of wines and dishes that you're going to be preparing, buy the wine, taste it first. Check out the acidity. So to just explain acidity in simple terms without making it complicated, acidity ranges from low to high. In the middle, it's medium. Above medium, it's medium plus. Below medium, it's medium minus.
Okay.
So how you determine acidity? You determine acidity by tasting the wine. And how do you pick up acidity? You pick up acidity by the amount of saliva that you pick up on your tongue. So if you feel like there's a lot of saliva on the back of your tongue, it signifies that there's high acidity. If it's medium, like, oh, it's medium. If it's low, it's like it's low. So which means the dishes that you're going to prepare should be more or less within that sort of same range of acidity. So which means cook and taste your food while you're cooking it, so that when people are having the dishes, they're having a beautiful experience. It becomes a marriage in your mouth and not a battle, not a tug of war
Okay.
of whether should I have the wine now or should I have it later or should I have it with a dish. So in terms of that, what you should pair with determines the acidity of the wine that you're having.
Wow. Okay, so I guess this one is highly acidic then, because I've got a lot of saliva. I keep swallowing.
It's probably high acidity. Again, it's a young red wine, 2023, 24, 24, which is a year,
Mm.
which is a year old. Red wine is best enjoyed when it's at least 2 years old.
Okay.
And then white wine is best enjoyed when it's young. So 2024 bottle, great. Acidity is high. You can enjoy it with your fish, your chicken, your pork, etc. Or any other dish for that matter. It doesn't have to be meaty plates. For vegetarians, they can have it with. It's just how you prepare your dish
Oh,
that allows the acidity to blend well.
okay.
Yeah.
I would wait before you sip.
Yeah.
I would love for us to talk about wine nightstand, your
Yeah.
baby. Can we just toast to wine nightstand?
Wine nightstand.
I know you're doing great
Yeah.
things.
So never tilt, straight up.
Hang on. What do you mean never tilt? Okay.
That's it. That's the bell. That's the sound you should always have when cheers. Let's do it again.
Must we hear the sound? I feel like it's a bit annoying.
I'm just saying it should be that sound and not.
Oh, okay. I hear. But what if glasses don't have hips like this? Are they still going to make? Yes.
Still gonna give you the same thing.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know this. You see, I'm learning.
So when I choose my glasses, I choose these type of glasses. I choose thin stem. I never go for thick stem because I want to have a nice hold on the glass.
But they're heavy.
Hmm?
They're heavy.
The thicker ones are heavy. This
Yeah.
is lighter. So I'd rather have lighter than thick.
Hmm.
This type of glass goes well with sparkling wine, goes well with any normal other wine.
Okay. Why mustn't we tilt? Is there a reason for that?
There's no other reason than it just aesthetically as well sounds better. Did you hear that?
Oh, God.
Did you hear that?
Come on.
Did you hear the bell?
And there I was thinking there was a valid reason. Come on. One night stand. Let's go to one night stand. Sorry. You were sitting in your lounge, in your miserable state, your words.
Yeah.
Tell me about that night. What was going on?
So, yeah. So I was at home from work, bored, lonely, and there was a place in PE called For the Love of Wine. And a lady by the name of Robin had owned the place. Very nice place. And I used to stay next door. So my balcony literally used to face the balcony of the wine bar. And every time I came from work, I always used to wonder, why are people there so happy? Like, it's a Friday, it's 3 p.m., I'm at home, I'm alone. And one evening I decided, let me just go and check it out. Got there, I got to learn a lot about wine. And I fell in love with the idea of, oh, this is how you hold the wine glass. This is how much you pour as a full glass. This is what a Bordeaux is. What's a Bordeaux? Where does it come from? Region, vintage. I was like, wow, this thing is interesting. Well, then I was like, I had an idea. Okay, so if I can share this with someone, then how many one night stands am I gonna have?
What? As in, like, one night stands or wine night stands?
Well, it eventually became wine night stands, but the intention was I was lonely having wine alone. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I don't think wine is something that you can have alone. You want to share with someone else. So, yeah. So I was hoping for a one night stand, but other plans, I guess. The universe had other plans for me. And I shared wine with my friends. So I used to invite my friends over. I would cook, and then I would buy bottles of wine from For the Love of Wine. We would have wine, food, music playing in the background. And it was fun. Until one of my friends was like, why don't you take this to the world? Like, people experience wine, they learn about wine and stuff. And then I did that in pop ups around PE.
Okay.
Um, and that became a thing. Like, all sorts of people came, black, white, Indian, colored, Chinese, young, old. And it was quite interesting. Um, and there came this young black man. People didn't know who this event belonged to until the host came up on the mic and was like, "Hey guys, welcome to our nightstand," and blah 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 blah. But essentially, what I wanted people to take away from that event was to learn something. Whether you learn how to hold a wine glass, or you learn about a cultivar, or you learn about vintage, or you learn how to pair wine with what food. I just wanted people to take something home with them,
Mm.
and that became the heart of what Wine and Stand is.
It must be very difficult dining with you, especially if there's wine on the table.
No, I'm a very simple guy.
You don't correct people and say, actually, you mustn't tilt your glass when you're toasting, for instance.
It's just aesthetics. Yeah.
Okay. And how old is Wine Night Stand now?
So started this in 2014.
You started the project in 2014. I thought that's when you had the idea.
That's when I started. That year, that's the year I started.
My goodness.
Yeah. That's the year I
So I know you've got a branch in Pretoria, I think in Linwood.
No, that was in Maboneng, but I closed that bar.
Okay, where are you now?
So right now I'm looking for a new location. Um, there's possibilities of Rosebank.
Okay.
That's a project
That's actually a very good area.
Yes. Yeah, working on a concept. Yeah, I can't share much about it, but it's something that's a project that I'm working on. We're opening in Rosebank.
I'm wondering why I'm thinking of Linwood, if it was in
Linwood is
Maboneng.
part of the area.
No, I'm saying I'm wondering why I thought you were based in Linwood.
Yeah, I was based in Pretoria for a very long time. Yeah, and I don't know, maybe I don't know why you thought Linwood.
Most probably because now this is a you and me conversation. When we first met many years ago, we went to Linwood at some farm. And now I remember. That's the reason. That's the reason. Okay, so do you plan to nationalize this? I know right now your base is in Gauteng, but you are doing work in PE. We would love to see you in Durban and Richards Bay, for instance. Do you have any aspirations of growing and just making yourself visible elsewhere? Because there's a lot of people that are actually into wine, especially if you have those wine tasting events. I heard by some little birdie that you recently had one here a couple of days ago.
Saturday, actually.
Yeah, I know that that's something people are very much willing to support because it's becoming a thing, you know. Are you planning to expand your footprint?
Yes, I am. Long-term goal. That's the plan. The bigger picture is even more scarier. The bigger picture is every coastal area in Africa.
Oh, interesting.
And just developing people that want to start a wine bar and becoming a distributor, a part of that process, because I can't be everywhere at the same time. Partnering with other Africans in expanding the South African range of wines, because we have the best wines in Africa. When I say wines, I'm talking about grapes, not the rice wines and other stuff.
Don't we have the best everything in Africa? I'm joking. Like, I am joking. I'm joking. We don't have the best jollof in South Africa. We do have jollof, by the way. I'm not sure. Yes, we do. We do. But the best jollof we could get is Ghanaian jollof. Yeah, I think. Umka. What is umka?
Umka rice is basically you mix everything in a pot and you cook your rice and you mix everything in a pot.
I get that, but what does the term umka mean?
Umka basically just means put together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the indigenous way, or something that's put together. It's like istif papa. In the Eastern Cape, I see istif papa.
Mm.
So to umka, umka will mean, or yeah,
Shifting away from the wine conversation, I always wonder, uh, why do Ghanaians and Nigerians, why did they get so popular for their jollof rice?
yeah.
Because you've got savory rice, right? Was the inspiration from jollof? And I ask this because I know you're not just a wine connoisseur, but you are also very much passionate about food,
Yeah.
right? Yes. Do you have an idea why that is?
I I don't really know what the history is, but I know that in West Africa, for example, I think that's where Ghana and
Yeah,
Nigeria is
yeah.
located. Their foods they eat a lot of rice.
Mm.
I think it's part of their food staple. Um, so I think it's historical in that sense that jollof, I think we got introduced to jollof way later. Yeah, whereas in South Africa, it's always been like unga is like the thing that you eat when everything else is finished.
Mm.
For them, it's like it's not like I can't say it's a delicacy, but it's something that they enjoy eating all the time. For us, it's like xa iphele yonke into zopheka umqa rice. It's like you're saving the day,
Yeah.
basically. I think it's the same culture as paella. With paella, it's like you take leftover rice and you just mix everything, and then you have paella. And you get paella in restaurants, but you don't get umqa rice in a restaurant.
Mm.
Which is a funny thing. And you get jollof in restaurants, but you don't get umqa rice in restaurants.
Mm.
It's quite an interesting thing.
Wow. Okay. Uh, let's go back to wine. Let's go back to wine. This is the reason why we've gathered. In any case,
Yeah.
your go-to wine any day. Um, let's start during your darkest days when you don't have money.
Yeah.
What's your go-to wine? It's January. You just came out of the festive. Nobody has money. We all want to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
What can I buy? If I go to Woolies or ShopRite or wherever, what is it that I can buy?
Mm. So, I mean, there's a lot of options, hey? It really depends how much you want to spend. Like, I know at a liquor store here in Main Road, Woma, they have a bottle called Hope, I think. Hope. It's 29 Rand, but it's got good tenant structure.
29?
29,
Is that wine?
It's wine. I was like, I had that wine and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be spending a lot today. Let me just try this wine. You might be surprised. Some of the cheapest wine out there, very few of them could be good wine, depending on how you enjoy wine. I'm not saying the best, but it will be drinkable.
Okay.
If wine's got good tannin structure, if a wine has got good acidity structure, good alcohol, that wine could be easily be drinkable wine. But if a wine has got high alcohol, no tannin structure, high acidity, you might not enjoy that wine.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, like a 29 Rand bottle. But if you want to stretch the wine,
Of course. Now tell me about the real stuff.
the good stuff.
Yeah.
You want the good stuff. The thing is, in South Africa, there's so much. I can't go to a specific brand or specific maker in terms of wines because there is a lot. I mean, thousands and thousands of good wines in South Africa. But a good, easy drinking wine, if you are aspiring to be a wine drinker, and especially towards the dry side, would be your Cabernet Sauvignon. Cabernet Sauvignon, easy tannins, light acidity, easy to drink, like what we're having right now. Once you give it enough oxygen, it's a little bit drinkable. The other wines that are nice would be your light-bodied wines. So this would fall within the category of full-bodied wines. But light-bodied wines such as your Pinot Noir and your Cinsault, those are the wines that you can also chill in the fridge.
It's not nice.
But not ice cold. Yeah, just slightly chilled. It's light. When you look at the body, it's almost like see-through, almost looks like cranberry juice. It's drinkable, it's nice.
I'm sorry. I would never advise anybody to take Pinot Noir. It's not nice. It is not nice at all. I had a friend when I was still staying in Bloemfontein. He was coming from the US and had just established himself in Bloom. And he was like, "Oh, Q, there's this wine I want you to try. It's the best ever. I saw Willis has it, and it's Pinot Noir." So it sounded fancy to me, and I was like, "Okay, I can't wait to get this Pinot Noir." Once linear day, I went to Willis. Oh, there is this Pinot Noir. I dropped everything and I said, "I'm gonna have this." Chilled it a bit, and I tasted it. I was very, very disappointed.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Don't write out all Pinot Noirs because of one bottle that you had. So there's a couple of things that you look for when you're buying a bottle of wine. Okay. On this bottle, you find who the producer is. We call that the vintner. It's very important who produces the wine. Secondly, you look at the cultivar, which in your case was a Pinot Noir. Thirdly, you look at the vintage. What year is on the bottle? Fourth, you look at region. What region did it come from? Now, vintage will tell you a story. It will unpack a story for you because vintage, remember, again, it's not the year the grapes were harvested, which is listed on the bottle.
Are those details here?
Absolutely. All of that is there. The more detail you get on a bottle of wine, the better you can trust the bottle that you're having. The less details, the less you can trust what you're having.
I see.
Okay. So next time, try a different Pinot Noir. You might have a different opinion. Or even try the same Pinot Noir, but different vintage, because that year could have been a year of drought. And the next year, it's a year of rain. Or the other year, it's normal season. Then you might have three different experiences. Same bottle, three different vintages, different experiences.
Then I guess, sorry, this is now the agronomist in me speaking. I guess one would have to do a bit of digging when buying wine. For instance, if you look at vintage alone and we silence all the other factors, if you say this was made in Italy in 2019, for instance, I have to go and check how the climate was like around 2019.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of work.
So
you know?
it actually makes you want to actually travel there one day, like in the Western Cape. Most people drink wine have never been in the Western Cape. Even the people that were born in the Western Cape have never been to the wine farms. It makes you want to wonder, I want to go to Stellenbosch and see what Stellenbosch looks like. Are there mountains? Oh, there are mountains. Oh, there's the ocean. It cools acidity. Oh, it's hot during the day. It's humid. Oh, that means there's a lot of sugar. If there's a lot of sugar, that means there's a lot of alcohol. If what sort of wine grapes are there? Oh, Pinot Noir is a luxury grape. Okay, because it's very finicky in terms of what sort of climate, what sort of terroir you grow it in. So and so forth and so forth and so forth. So you get to learn about, oh, okay, now I understand why that vintage tastes that way. Now I understand how I should approach that wine. What should I have it with? Let me not have this wine alone as an aperitif. Let me have it with some food. Let me pair it with some food. I might enjoy it better. And let me decant the wine. Maybe it needs a little bit of oxygen. Yeah.
Wow. I think this would be my second last question, Kat. Would you advise people to go for this sector, this industry that you've tapped into? Yeah, especially young people that want to kind of explore. Young people are now trying to be these business
Entrepreneurs.
not necessarily entrepreneurs. I don't want to fight with Vusi Tembeguayo here. Business people. They want to be business people. So, would you say they must explore this industry? Yes, no?
Absolutely, yes. Especially young people. I would say especially young people. I mean, today there's NYDA. I don't know if they do support that kind of industry because it's alcohol. But I mean, I think they should because this is our legacy.
Hmm.
I would definitely say a lot of young people should go into that industry and learn a lot about wine, educate other people about wine, because alcohol is the sort of thing that almost sells itself. Because in South Africa, we use alcohol to celebrate every weekend, literally from Thursday to what? In Joburg, that's Thursday to Thursday. In PE, that's
Joe Burgers, I'm sorry.
no, but it's true. If you do it, like there's always something happening, and if you want to chill in a nice way, almost all the young people in Joburg like, let's go have wine. It's like a thing, you know. It's a lifestyle. You sit in a nice fancy restaurant, you buy a bottle of wine, have nice conversation. I'm not saying people don't stay. I mean, it's different when you're drinking beer. It's different when you're drinking wine,
Hmm.
and it's different. I feel like it's kind of different. I might be biased because I love wine, but yeah. Definitely they should go into that industry. Should learn more, get a certification if you have to, um, and the certification is actually not that expensive. And there is sponsorships and bursaries out there to get the qualification. And you might end up building a career, and you can basically travel all over the world as a sommelier. You can work on ships. You can work. You can be in hotels, restaurants, lodges, etc.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
And where does one go for this? If, say, for instance, I now want to learn about wines, where do I go?
so there's quite a lot of academies. I mean, if people they want to know, they can contact me directly, and I'll be able to assist in terms of navigating. There's a lot of them that I can mention right now, but I think it's better to have the conversation one-on-one, with people that are basically interested with that. But there's, just to mention one, there's the Cape Wine Academy that exists, which is quite popular one. Yeah, and you can write the exam and get your certification. There's
Oh,
different
okay.
gradings to it. Eventually, yeah,
And
I
how
want to be a master sommelier. So
interesting. And how can we, I'm including myself now, how can we contact you? And I'm asking this for the benefits of those that are watching and listening right now.
yeah, so I'm on social media. On Facebook, I am Katebe Musonda. So it's my personal profile.
How do I write that? Katebe
Yeah,
space.
Musonda.
Okay.
And then on Instagram, I am wine_evangelist. And then the wine night stand page is wine_night_stand.
Interesting. The wine night stand sounds very ungodly. Story for another day. Story for another day. Kat, listen, as we close off, I want to do this right. I just want.
Cheers on an empty glass.
Oh my goodness. I guess I'm still safe.
Yeah.
I think this has been a very informative session. I think you are growing and you're going very, very far. And I'm hoping that you're going to mentor a lot of young people, myself included. Don't shy away from me. I
Okay.
also want to grow alongside you.
All right.
So cheers to you.
Yeah. Cool.
Now we're going back to square one, making fire.